You're smart, you're motivated, you want to do something big. You're on the verge of being a young boss, and we're here to help you. I'm your host, Isabel Garino, and welcome to the Young Boss Podcast, where your youth is your power. In this episode, we're going to cover why celebrating is good for your mental health and career growth, as well as the effects on not celebrating your wins, and of course, how to effing party. I also want to share with you about a time that I closed over $1 million in sales. I celebrated for probably 3 minutes and went back to work, and how that impacted me. You know, I truly feel that entrepreneurs do not know how to celebrate. They don't celebrate enough. I think a lot of times we're climbing so fast to the top that we forget to look down and see everything that's happened and see where we are. I think it's really part and due to like hustle culture. It's always, let me get the next one, let me get the next one. And it's, you never actually have that moment to just like say, wow, we did it. You know, I started to notice this after we'd have a quarter worth of goals and we'd sit at the end of the quarter and look through the goals and we accomplished them all. We knocked them out of the park, but yet I didn't feel like we did. Because I just looked around and I'm like, yeah, we did it, but like, there's so much more to accomplish. And instead of focusing on what we did and the massive leaps and bounds and improvements we made and all the money we made, it was like, but there's more, but there's more. And I didn't even allow my heart and my soul to understand that, no, you have to celebrate. You have to live in that moment, or else what are we doing this for, right? We have to make sure that we're always taking a beat and just chilling for a second and looking around and celebrating. When I think about the word celebration, first of all, that song comes to mind, like celebrate good times, come on. Okay, don't judge my singing, but you know that song. And that was like my dad's favorite song. And my dad was amazing at celebrating. Every time he'd have a really great, day in sales or do something, he would just chill. And that to him was celebrating. He's like, I'm going to take the evening. I'm not going to look at my computer. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm going to smoke my cigar and drink my wine and eat my meatballs and chill, right? And hang out in the backyard and watch whatever he wanted to watch. But that's what he needed. It was that unwind. It was that chill. And it was celebration. It was just him taking a moment to himself. So it doesn't have to be as far reaching as, Shaquille O'Neal winning the Triple Crown and throwing champagne everywhere and freaking out and celebrating and going to the club and blowing thousands of dollars. It could be drinking wine and eating meatballs in your backyard. It's whatever celebration is to you. I think sometimes entrepreneurs put a lot of pressure and set these unachievable goals where nothing is ever enough. It's just this constant strive for more. And then you look around and maybe you get pressure from your peers or observations on social media. You start seeing other people and saying, why are they winning all the time? What are they doing that I'm not doing? Why don't I have what they have? And it really drives you crazy when you focus on other people. We all know that social media is like the fakest thing in the world, right? Everyone's only showing their wins and they're not showing a lot of those low moments. And even when people do show their low moments, a lot of people criticize them for it. So they stop showing them. And so it's not that life is all celebration like social media may perceive and show us that it is. I don't want you to have these unrealistic, ideas of how much you should celebrate and what you should celebrate. But when you set a goal and you achieve it as a young boss, as an entrepreneur, Russ, the rapper, said, I didn't come this far to only come this far. Like, you need to stop and celebrate yourself. You need to take a moment out and really give yourself that pat on the back. I remember when I was on the show Bigger Pockets and I was so excited for it and I was really proud of that achievement. And literally I was in a meeting, I jumped onto my episode recording, did the recording, and literally within 2 minutes of being off, went right back into work. I didn't celebrate that win. I didn't even take a second to like pat myself on the back and be like, you just got on the biggest show in your industry, right? You just did one of the biggest things that you could do as far as marketing goes. And maybe for you, you've had that experience too. You won. You did something incredible. You achieved an accomplishment, a big, huge goal, and then you went right back to work. And you didn't even take a beat to recognize that was a moment for you. You just skimmed right over it. That really hit me when a week later I was sitting in an audience on someone else, their event, And there was a guy on stage and he's giving his presentation. And during his presentation, he said, yeah, last week I was on Bigger Pockets. And the gentleman who was running the event literally stopped the guy on stage. He said, wait, stop. And he ran up on stage and he said, you just said you were on Bigger Pockets? And the guy was like, yeah. And he's like, give this guy some celebration. And the whole room gave this guy a standing ovation. I'm not joking. I'm sitting there in the crowd like, wait, I was on it last week too? But like, it was so weird. It was just this alternate universe in front of my face where this guy's getting a standing ovation for accomplishing the exact same thing that I did. And I didn't even give myself 2 seconds of a celebration. So I'm right there with you when I say I know it's hard to celebrate, because for me, it's really hard. I'm always just, what can we do more? What can we do next? But that was a big loss for me, because you can't celebrate it a year later, a week later. It's like in that moment, what do you do to give yourself that power, that oomph? Because when times are shitty and when times are low and you're not getting a lot of things to celebrate, you need to rely on those high moments during the lows, and it really hit me that, okay, this is important and I need to do this, because if I don't do it, how am I going to expect my team to understand when I want to celebrate their wins, right? If I don't celebrate my own, they're going to think me celebrating theirs is fake or not authentic, not very genuine. So I think it's just absolutely vital that you not only celebrate your own, but you also learn to celebrate others. Just a couple days ago, Lizzo was on the Grammys, and right after she did her performance, she did a tweet, I think in an Instagram post, that basically said, I'm so proud of myself for my vocals during this performance. I've really been working on them hard. I'm trained in rapping and I'm not really a singer, but I went out there, I've been practicing and I gave it my all. And I'm really proud of myself, the way I sounded, the way I looked, and the way everything came off. She's not being egotistical. She's not being pompous. She is celebrating herself, her win. She's like, I put in the work and I did it. And I hope she went out and had, pop champagne, pop some bottles after. But it's one of those things where it's okay to be proud of yourself, and you really should. Because when you don't, the rest of your team looks around and they don't think that they can be proud of what they're doing either. So it's so important that you celebrate yourself, your company, and your team. Also, sometimes you're going to have to take a break to do the celebration, a break from work. God forbid. If you're a young boss like me who's just obsessed with working, right? I am a Capricorn. It's in my nature. I can't help it. But that means, it's very hard for me to take a break from work. I'm obsessed with it. It's my baby. I love it. I want to work every day, all day. But if I don't take that break, then it's not going to happen. So it's really, really important. Your definition of celebration could be vastly different than mine. For me, I am like a spa girl. I love spas. My goal is to go to like every spa in every city I ever go to, right? I'm obsessed with spas. I really, really love it. So for me, being able to take time out to have an R&R day, to go down to the spa and just relax and get a facial and a massage and go in the steam room and sauna and chill for a moment, that's what celebration is to me. I'm like, okay, and then I can sit there the whole time and be thinking about what I did, how I accomplished it, and what I want to do next, but revel in that moment of joy. Right? For someone else, it might be going out and getting tacos and a margarita. Like, it totally ranges for everyone. But when we think about what constitutes a celebration, to me, it's hitting those KPIs, hitting those big numbers, those goals that you always wanted to do, right? Maybe you wanted to get 10 clients this month and you got it. Maybe you even got 11. It's like, that constitutes a celebration. Like, it's time to go out and party, whatever that looks like to you. Or maybe it is some numbers. Maybe, you have to be making $100,000 every single month and you hit it. And it's like, go celebrate. But you always have to remember too, sometimes you celebrate differently based on the scale of the accomplishment. If it's just a little daily to do, you're probably not celebrating after every little daily to do. But when you sell $1 million from the stage, you probably should go celebrate, right? When you do something big that is going to impact you, your company, your team, that's time to celebrate. And I also think that when we look at our team's efforts, we want to make sure we're celebrating them appropriately as well. We don't want to be celebrating all of the small little things, because that's when it comes off disingenuous. But when they worked really, really hard and they accomplished something, give them a little pat on the back, give them that word of encouragement. There's that book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And I love that book for relationship purposes, but in work purposes, he wrote another book called The 5 Appreciations in the Workplace. And to me, it's so, so cool. I always have my team members take it because I want to know how I can love them. Because if they don't feel loved through words of affirmation, and that's how I feel loved and how I love to give love, but they want gifts, and I show up and when they did something really big and I'm like, oh my gosh, giving them words, and they're just so uncomfortable. It's like, that's not even a celebration to them. That might have been like the worst thing in their life. All they wanted was a little gift, a Starbucks gift card, or, a new wallet or something. I don't know. But it's so important that you know how people receive appreciation and receive love, because when you're going to celebrate someone else, you don't want to do it in just the way that you would want it received, right? You want to do it in the way that they will receive it, and that will be the maximum effort and intentionality for them. So it's just really important. I think celebration is important in both your personal and your professional life. In your personal life, think about it. We celebrate big things, right? You get married and you have a bridal shower and a bachelorette and a big wedding and all this, and sometimes an engagement party, right? Your birthdays, you celebrate them. So why do we think that it's not important in professional life when yet we do it all the time in our personal life? And I know some of you listening are like, oh, I don't even like it in my personal life. Like, I hate celebrating my birthdays. And it's like, okay, I know exactly who you are. There's people like that, but it's so important. You were born on one day. One day you came to this earth, and it's an important day to, however you want to celebrate, look back and be like, I did it. Another year down. Look how I grew. Look what I accomplished, and move forward from there. It doesn't need to be this massive thing, but it needs to be something. Just recognizing those points in your life so that you can have a day, a time where you say things were different before and after. And that's what's important, I think. To me, I love to celebrate everyone on my staff, all of their personal and professional accomplishments, because professional accomplishments, that's great. But for me to show you I actually care about you as a young boss is to also celebrate your personal accomplishments. So when someone has a move, you better believe I'm sending them a new gift. When it's someone's birthday, we throw birthday parties here in our company because it's important. And it's not like, oh, pizza and ice cream in the break room. Like, no, it's like we throw actual themed birthday parties, and they're so much fun, and everybody comes together and hangs out, and we do fun things like go and do little activities together. But to me, it's so important to celebrate both of them in your work environment and culture. I am so excited because one of our guys who works for us, don't tell him. Well, hopefully he doesn't listen to this, but it's his birthday coming up. And I saw that he had one of those big, huge wallets with like all the cash in it. It's like a big fatty, and he's sitting on it every day. And I'm like, he needs like a slim, sleek wallet. So I was out the other day, bought him a nice wallet. I'm so excited to give it to him. But it's little things like that, like noticing things about the people around you and showing them love in that way, celebrating them personally, professionally, not just like, here's the generic company brownies that we send to everyone. Like, do something that matters to them. Do something that they need. Sometimes I think that celebration can be a sign of growth. When you're an entrepreneur who's just stuck in that hustle culture, in that grind of the day to day, but then you say, hey, pause, we're going to stop and celebrate. To me, that is personal growth, right? Even if it's in your business, because you're saying like, I'm going to let my brain recognize that what I did is amazing. What I accomplished is worthy of stopping and putting some effort and energy towards it. If you want more of something, then you need to start doing it. That's what everybody says, right? Like there's this Steve Harvey thing where he said like, hey, you want to be able to buy more designer bags, ladies? Go and buy one. Go buy your first one, because every day you wear it and you're looking at it, you're going to think, I want another. And you're going to work harder, and all of a sudden you're going to have more money to be able to buy another and buy another. And I think celebrations like that, when you stop and you actually do it, you actually celebrate, your body is having fun. It's signaled like, this is a good thing. We're happy. We're having a good time. And naturally you're going to want to do more and more and more. So to me, it's a huge sign of growth, but it's also a huge sign of making it happen more and more and more. It's going to exponentially grow the amount of times that you celebrate, because now you're going to be excited about it. You're going to be looking forward to the next celebration, the next party, whatever it is. There's a lot of psychological and health benefits to celebration too. Like it literally boosts your self-esteem and confidence. When you're recognizing those achievements, it's going to increase your sense of self-worth and confidence. And I love that. It can increase motivation. Just acknowledging and celebrating your achievements can serve as motivation for future success. It's going to remind you of your capability to win, to succeed. It's going to improve your mental health. Celebrating accomplishments releases endorphins that lead to feelings of happiness and well-being. And honestly, it's going to make you more mentally healthy. And with all of the negativity in our world today, so many people being surrounded by negative mental health and anxiety, there is no better time than right now to start celebrating yourself, your life, your accomplishments, your employees. Just everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis deserves recognition. It deserves celebration. When you think about celebrating your wins, I know sometimes people are like, I want to celebrate in private, right? You might not want to celebrate in front of other people because maybe you're embarrassed about, what you're doing. Maybe you sold $1 million from stage and your friends can't even imagine what that looks or feels like. And so you don't want to invite them into your winner circle. You're like there being like, I'm just going to do it alone in my privacy. And that's perfectly fine. But I also want you to know this. When you share your accomplishments with other people who their lives may or may not match yours, it levels them up. It truly does. When I sit there and get to tell my friends like, hey, I'm so proud that I wrote a book, started a podcast, like sold $1 million from stage, it makes them say, you can do that? I can do that. And it encourages them. It doesn't do what you think it does. You think that, oh, I need to make myself small so that they can be big. It doesn't actually do that. When you self-deprecate and don't celebrate your accomplishments and don't even share your accomplishments with the people around you, that's literally failing yourself and it's failing them. Because the best thing that you can do as a human being is be the best person that you can be. And if you are amazing, it's going to level up everyone around you because they're going to be motivated and inspired to also do that. So at first, when you're starting your celebrations, if you want to do them solo, you can. But I'm telling you, start to maybe invite some people into that winner circle with you. Just watch and see what it does. You might be really surprised that a lot of other people get motivated by that. And then guess what? You start getting invited to their celebrations. And you're going to love that because who doesn't want to join a party? For me, when it comes to our company celebrations, it's so important. I not only want them to be there in my celebratory times, but I want to be there for theirs. So when someone in our company does something outside of the company, we are all there to support and celebrate, personally and professionally. And to me, a lot of times that just means showing up. It just means being there, being glad to be a part of that invitation to their inner celebration, their thoughts, their joy, and being there by their side to just encourage them. And it's going to make them want to do more. Our company loves to celebrate. We like to do quarterly parties. We like to go to this super fun place in Phoenix. If you guys have never been, it's called Bam Kazam. It is like so much fun. And we go and it's like, I don't know what you call it. The floor is lava for adults in real life, but also you feel like you're inside of a Pac-Man game. I don't know. It's so much fun. You got to go. But it's really, really important for me that we do something fun for that person to celebrate their accomplishments. It could be sending cookies to their house, and it could be showing up and saying, get in the car. I'm taking you to Maple and Ash. We're going for $200 steaks, right? Whatever it is, you need to do it. I remember this one time, it was my CMO, Rob, it was his birthday, and we were like, how do we celebrate him? Like, how do we just make him feel so loved? Well, Rob is an amazing father. He's got 4 adorable children, and they're all pretty young. I want to say they're all under the age of 8. And so he's got his hands full at home. So not only did we, pay for his dinner and send him out on a date with his wife, but me and 2 of our other employees went to his house and babysat his kids. Like, we went above and beyond to just make sure that he knew his kids were going to be cool at home. We know how much they mean to him. So that was important to make sure that was covered. He's not doing anyone, feeling guilty about asking someone to come babysit. It's like, we've got the kids, like they're going to be good. You go out, have this beautiful date with your wife. Everything's paid for. Get the dessert, get whatever you want. And he had so much fun. And to me, that's like a great way to just really like love on somebody. It's so much more than giving a gift card, like going above and beyond beyond and saying like, I'm giving you an experience. I want to celebrate you and share in that celebration with you from afar. Like we gave him that gift, but it was just so beautiful to be able to do that. And I know that's not always possible, but I know a lot of young bosses who do make things like that possible. They'll send people on trips. They'll get Airbnbs for their friends or their family. They'll buy them Disney tickets, like whatever it is, doing something that's just so immensely intimate to that person. Like he cared about his kids. He loves his wife. He doesn't get to go on date nights. What can we do? We did it all. It's so much better than just that little gift card. Sometimes when you're thinking about celebrating, you're like, how do I even know if I accomplished my goal? Because especially as a visionary, as an entrepreneur, you might set a goal and like 3 days into having the goal, it's already adjusted to like 20 other different things. So you don't even know if you got there. And sometimes nothing ever feels big enough to take the time to celebrate. I know for me, that's been a lot of my hesitation and celebration is like, yeah, but this isn't even that big of a deal. But then when I see somebody else being celebrated for it, I'm like, oh, I guess it was a big deal. I guess I should have taken that time, you know? And sometimes you need that validation from other people to recognize that. For example, the time I sold $1 million from stage, my team bought me champagne, they bought me flowers, and I came home and I literally took the bottle of champagne and instead of opening it and cheersing and being excited, I put it away. Like that's embarrassing. I sold $1 million. Like I should be really, really proud of myself. And yet I just was like, back to work, like do it later. And it was just so later I looked through that and one of my business coaches, he said to me, well, how did you celebrate? And I said, I don't know. I made myself chicken that night and I went to bed. And he was like, what? He's like, what is wrong with you? And so I think in that moment, I just started to realize like, if I don't celebrate me, no one's going to celebrate me. And nothing is ever going to feel big enough. Sometimes you have to get through that mental block and just be like, if we put this down on paper as a goal, as a big achievement, and we nailed it, we knocked it out of the park, just take the time. And also block the time. Like you literally sometimes have to block the time to celebrate. My staff has been starting to add to my calendar, like after big events where they know I'm probably going to knock it out of the park. Thank you, team, for believing in me. But, you know, they'll like block time and be like R&R, you know, because they want me to go take that time to go to the spa or pop that bottle or do whatever I need to do to be in the moment to celebrate. So don't just, you know, say I'm going to do it in theory, like make the time, like schedule it, put it down, make it happen. There's a lot of consequences for not celebrating. You can start to have like low self-esteem because you're feeling like you're not accomplishing anything. Reduced motivation because what else can we get excited about? Like if we're not celebrating anything, what am I motivated for? Why do I want to work harder? You might have decreased job satisfaction. And I know that's true, not just for the business owner, but a lot of times for your staff. If you don't celebrate your staff and they're excited about what they did and you don't recognize it and you don't take that time to give them that word of encouragement, to give them that quality time, whatever it is, they're going to start being like, all of my work is for nothing. They're going to have that feeling and they're going to start feeling underappreciated, undervalued, like they're not good enough. They might start having stress and burnout, and it's going to impact their performance at work. I really think it leads to deterioration of company culture, and you're going to have people start quiet quitting. You're going to have people start to back away and step away and be like, they don't even recognize what I do. I feel unseen, I feel unheard, and they're going to start quietly quitting in their mind and putting up those boundaries because you don't love them enough, you don't recognize them enough, you don't celebrate them enough. So I think it's like really actually vital, and it's not just something for you, it's something for your team. But if you don't celebrate you, then they're going to feel that the celebration for them is not real. So you have to celebrate you, the company, and them. It's trifold. Here's some tips on how to make sure that celebration happens. Set achievable goals. This is going to give you something to celebrate. And also plan for the celebration. Make sure that you're making it a priority. You want to schedule that time for it. Book it out in your calendar so that way nothing gets in the way of your celebration. Reflect on your accomplishments. Take time to reflect on those achievements and how far you've come. It's so important to look down every so often, not just always be looking up what's next. We have to take a beat and just reflect. And make sure you're celebrating others, sharing your accomplishments with friends, family, and colleagues, inviting them into the winner's circle. When you celebrate together, it makes it so much more fun. Also, you need to recognize the effort. Acknowledge your hard work and the effort of everyone else in your company, right? There's this phrase that says you only need to make two people proud, 80-year-old you and 8-year-old you. Would 8-year-old you be proud of you for starting a business? Heck yes. Would 80-year-old you be proud of you for getting your clients, hitting your KPIs, selling a certain amount of stuff? Heck yes. So start to recognize that effort. Start to think about those two versions of you and saying, how can I make them proud through my celebrations? And don't forget to treat yourself. Get yourself or do something special. Come join me on a spa day, whatever you want to do. But for real, you need to treat yourself. Make sure you keep a record, big and small, so that way you can look back and remember your achievements. Whether you're someone who likes to journal or take selfies, whatever it is, be in that moment and celebrate hard. Because when those moments happen, if you can't even remember them, what are they worth? We want to make sure that you're writing things down and keeping a record. And then celebrate in your own way. Everyone celebrates differently. Find what works best for you and stick to it. I also want you to know, don't compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. Make sure you're celebrating your own achievements and not only other people's, right? I love going to other people's birthday parties, but there's nothing like being at your own birthday party. It's all relative, so don't compare yourself, right? Shaq is incredible, but also Kevin Hart is incredible. And there's about 6 feet difference between them, it seems like, when we look at them, right? How many feet difference? Maybe more like 3. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is definitely the thief of joy. Also, I want to encourage you to celebrate regularly. It helps keep you motivated and focused on your goals. Make sure that you're making this a part of your routine. I know it can be difficult not only to celebrate yourself, but also I want you to know that it's okay to encourage others to celebrate. You need to lead by example, showing the importance of celebrating by regularly celebrating your own success, right? When you do that, it breeds more people wanting to do that as well. Iron sharpens iron. You can also create a culture of celebration, making it a regular part of your work culture, sharing positive stories of celebration. When we win, we all win. When you share your success and you encourage others to do the same, it creates that iron sharpening iron positive work environment. And always give credit where credit is due. Offer recognition and rewards for accomplishments, big and small. Some of your, celebration might be something that's set in stone already. Like if you sell X amount, you get this reward, but some of it is just on the fly. It's just extra. It's just that little, I'm proud of you. And so make sure that sometimes you have both of those depending on your team and your business. And also, when you're encouraging other people to celebrate, you're providing support to them, right? You are making sure that they know you're there for them and you're proud of them and you're in that circle with them. You're encouraging them to celebrate their success as if it was your own. I also don't want you to forget, you have to be inclusive. Celebrate all the roles and positions to foster a sense of unity and teamwork within your business. This one's really important because some roles in business just go more overlooked, right? They're not at the front. They're not the marketing team and the sales team who get a lot of the recognition. There's a lot of people behind the scenes who maybe their role isn't as flashy and as forward facing. So make sure that you celebrate everyone for all of their different accomplishments. For me, I love to plan group activity, team building activities, but not in a lame way, but actually a fun way, doing things that we love to do. For us, our team, we love to play different board games. We'll have game nights. Like I said, we go to Bam Kazam. We like to go do race car driving and Top Golf, and we just like to do fun things together. Being sincere is also very, very vital. Showing others that you truly value their accomplishments. A way that you can do this is by having your team take that 5 appreciations in the workplace quiz to know how they're going to best receive your celebration and love towards them. Of course, communicating the importance of success to your team, it's going to have a positive effect on morale and motivation. I remember the first time I told my team, hey guys, we need to start celebrating our wins. And I'm going to bring champagne to the next training that we do. And if we hit $1 million, we're popping bottles. And the team all of a sudden was just excited about it. It's champagne. Like, who cares? They could go buy a bottle whenever they want. But it's that thing of saying, we're going to do it together. And this is important because we accomplished something big and we're not going to let it go unnoticed. So doing it together creates memorable, positive experiences for your team members. And then they say, I love coming to work because we get to, have a good time and we get to enjoy ourselves. And when I do something amazing, my boss sees that. My boss recognizes that and they're grateful for me. And so it makes them want to work harder. And it literally just makes us have a more positive interaction and experience at work together. So in conclusion, I just want to say, you need to celebrate, right? Sing your little song, celebrate good times. Come on. You got to do it, right? It's going to positively impact you both personally and professionally. Schedule the time to celebrate. Make it a priority. And if you haven't been doing this, then communicate it with your team. Let them know that you want to start doing this and have them, have someone hold you accountable to it. Encourage someone to say, hey, I need you to make sure that we do this. So at the end of the day, all I want to say is just make sure you make that time, make it happen, and celebrate hard. Invite people into your winner's circle. It's time. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Young Boss Podcast with your host, Isabel Garino. Be sure to like, share, and follow on Instagram and TikTok. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and let me know how you love to celebrate. I really want to hear from you. Are you a spa gal? Do you want to go to Vegas and pop bottles? What about a nice dinner? How do you celebrate? I can't wait to hear from you. Remember, youth is your power.